Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. PSR is excited to present to you Last Call, featuring your boy, the Pimp Slap P.O.D., Mike M.
Pimpin' ain't easy, but it's fun like money. Got bookies on the run, now it's time to get money. Not your typical way to ball. It's last call like some convicts waiting on the next draw. You can feel the tension. Did I mention? Fools better pay attention, cause we getting paid like a pension. T's on the ones and twos, we not the ones that lose. Mike, money's killers, Mike even make the evening news.
And now, let's get to the picks.
We be pumping! Buzz Sports Radio, you know we be pumping!
What up? What up? Welcome into Last Call. It's Tuesday, May the 14th, 6 p.m. Pub Sports Radio. You already know. We got a massive card in front of us tonight, and I'm chuckling as I think about it because surprisingly, I've made some cutting room floor moves, and it's still a massive card. So that makes me excited and anxious, and we got a ton to do to get into it, you guys. Fired up. Even some of these later playoff games got me still not sure where to go, but hopefully we can talk it out together and figure out a way to collectively get there. We're going to get after it tonight. You already know Billy Briz is coming in here. It's Tuesday. Not only do we get his breakdowns in these great NBA games here, the Pacers and the Knicks, and then, of course, the T-Wolves and the Nuggets, but it's WNBA opening day, and we've got some plays out there as well. So going to be fun to get into it with Billy Briz. I do have two. I have two shots that I'm giving, and I kind of feel like they are shots at this point, being early in the season. Day one as they are here, but they're two spots I want to get after. And, we're going to use the line movement. We're going to use our notes. We're going to use our trends. We're going to look at some of that preseason homework that was done to try to come up with a way to get some W's early in the season. That's when the lines are the softest. That's when we got to take advantage. But it's going to be a lot of fun here, guys. We had a nice night last night. We fired off just a touch under 7 units in W's last night. And I expect to do it again tonight. I think this card's really lined up for us to make some cash. Some modest numbers that are out there, and then some big scores, some big opportunities to score as well. And I can't wait to go through it with you guys. It's going to be so much fun. You already know the deal, guys. Hit that thumbs up button if you're just getting in here. Help us grow the brand, support the cause. Let them know we're here to get this done on the regular. This is where you're spending your time. Let's go out there and let's build this thing up. And the bigger we get, the more money we cash. Everybody works together to get this money from them bookies. You know the deal. Grab a pen and paper. There's a absolute ton to write down tonight. Plays early games, mid games, later games, prop sides, totals, parlays. You name it. We got a little bit of everything. We got a flavor of the day for everybody in the card tonight. And last but not least, make sure you put your plays in the chat. Let's recognize the work that you guys have come to the table with tonight as well. We're all doing the same thing together, so we appreciate you guys taking the time to share your best bets in that chat as well. You know the deal here. We will start off. We'll give it a recap. Then we'll jump in. There's so much going on. I don't even know what the order is. Let me see here. We've got the NHL. We'll talk both those games. Then we've got Major League Baseball. Then because the NBA starts at 8, I think we'll jump in and do some WNBA analysis first. You guys tell me if that works for you, but there are 7 p.m. and 7:30 WNBA games, and the actual NBA doesn't start until 8 p.m. I guess I shouldn't say it like that. The NBA doesn't start until 8 p.m. So first Major League Baseball plays are 7:10. I think the card lines up to go in that direction. So we'll play it by ear. We'll see what happens out there. Just excited to get into it with you guys here. I'm still I'm very apprehensive. I'm playing these spots here. I'm just teetering between professional responsibility. You know, I don't want to give you guys too much to overwhelm yourselves with tonight, but look, I'm excited about these spots. I think these are the opportunities for us to go in there and cash. We did it last night. It's been a tremendous weekend, and we got to keep it rolling. That's what we do here with Last Call. I'm fired up to get into it with you guys. Let's see who's in the chat. I already know who numero uno commenter in the chat is. It's my guy, Joe T. Puts a smile on my face to see it every time. He says, just riding the first period overs again and bet the elimination game if they down in the third period. He also likes the Guardians and the Rangers over 9. Not a bad look in that game there. Some softballs out there on the mound. with them two boys going out there in that Cleveland, Texas game. Tori Coker's in the house. His best bet's the Knicks in the under parlayed with the Nuggets money line. Ken Wood says, what's up, Mike M? Subhuman Gaucho, my guy out there in the chat. It's good to see him. He's giving everybody a good evening. Dana Delp says it's sale day, -6.5. And for the win, plus 100 out there. I like that. Look at that little parlay for Chris Sale. We're going to talk about that game tonight. The Subhuman hockey play of the day is in. I love it. I'm already on it. Rodriguez over 2.5 shots at plus 145. I'm excited. I'm excited to think about the card. True excitement. I got fucking plays everywhere. And I dropped an F-bomb a little too early, so that's my fault. But I'm excited about this, and that's what happens. Court Wiley says, yeah, pimp. Let's go, Mikey. Cash these tickets today. Ken Woods giving sub the what's up and back forth there. Josh Lauer says, screw the Rangers. Yeah, that was ugly. That was an ugly one. In fact, it was 0-2 in the NHL yesterday, which impacted my assessments, I think, today. I tried not to let it, but look, when you shit the bed in a spot that you're good at, you got to think twice. I don't know. We'll see. I'm not going to second guess my whole take. It's just I wasn't happy to see those 2 L's last night, and that's got me a little trepidatious when it comes to the NHL spots today. Justin McKelvey's in the house. RVD 420 says, "What's up, Mike Money? What's the look for tonight?" Shoo, you're going to be in store for a treat tonight. Dana Delp likes the fever. There's some WNBA action. Plus 7.5. Winner's Circle says, hey, yo, he's got Caitlin Clark over 6.5 assists and McBride over 9.5. Is that assist as well? That's got to be points, right? McBride over 9.5 points. Parlayed with the Nuggets money line for our guy, Winner's Circler. My guy, Juggler 23. In the house there, giving us the NBA trend of the day, says NBA teams that come off a game in which they scored 90 points or fewer have responded well when favored in the next outing, going 109, 67, and 62% in their last 178 tries. I believe that game is referencing the New York Knicks. And I buy into the trends. You guys know that. I just think that there's some reasons where it's not the 90 points in that. I saw the similar trend in there. And to me, it just felt, we'll talk about it when we get to the NBA. Well, I'm excited to talk about that trend particularly because I don't know that was just stellar defense. I just think that's a mash unit of offense out there for this New York Knicks team, which in my opinion does compromise the trend. I'm curious, Juggler 23, how you think about something like that. When you see some injuries, you see some other factors besides just like a traditional strong defensive game. How does that impact the way that you look at trends like that as well? So I'm curious. Fopatashi in the house. What up, Fopatashi? Says going to Oilers game tonight. Cheering on Edmonton over 3.5. Sorry, my neighbor was doing something out in my front yard out there. Justin says, do what's easier for Pimp Slap. I appreciate that. Subhuman says, had a boost. So paired, the grandma is wearing your sister's panties again. Play of the day with the Bronx. Is that De Bruyne assist? Got the assist and now holding on to a plus 1744 ticket. My guy, Subhuman Gaucho. Let's go. Let's get you home with that big casher there. Andrew C says WNBA game 1. We're betting on it. We're betting on it. If they got a clock on it and they put a line on it, we're going to go out there and we're going to bet the shit out of that. So you can count on that here with last call. Juggler 23 says WNBA wise guy plays under 167. The Sun Fever, the Lynx plus 8.5. The Liberty minus 10.5. They were 60% against the spread last season. I like seeing that. I like to see that, my guy, Juggler 23. There's my guy, Dan. What up, Dan, from down under? Hopefully you're having a good breakfast, my guy. I think it's breakfast time over there. Old E says, what up, D-Gens? There's Trisha M in the house. Will the real Trisha M please stand up? Let's go. Lingo Wick in the house. I haven't seen the name Lingo Wick thus far, at least not from a commenting perspective. Appreciate you coming in. Says Knicks first quarter, Knicks first half, Knicks full game. He's like the Knicks trifecta. Lingo Wick out there. The Foodtown Bets is Ant Edwards double. What's up, buddy? What up, Foodtown Bets, my guy? Trisha M says, shout out to the Mets fools. Yeah, that was a nice W for us today. Hey, parlay that under. Parlay. I'm paving the way for you guys out there. That was a nice score. Ricky Bobby says, Mike, I may be crazy, but I sprinkled Simeon Ramirez, 2+ RBIs, plus 32-30. Let's go. I want to start getting more involved in those 2+ RBIs, Ricky Bobby. I don't think that's crazy at all. ZC33 says they limited me on the, yeah, me too, ZC33. Yeah, they're tired of getting smoked. I know Sub and I were talking about that earlier today as well. They're done taking that beating on us, and I'm still hoping to put the beating on them tonight. So we'll see. Winter Circle says T. Shout out to T on the 1s and 2s. You already know T holds it down, gets us tight and right for the show. Oldie says, Trisha, I'm not out of the woods yet. I tied Phillies money line to the Yankees money line for Oldie. Juggler 23 says, I agree that the injuries do compromise the low scoring trend. I need the Knicks for the series, so I'm passing on tonight's game. Marcus McCarthy in the house says, Pimp, my guy. What up, Marcus? Tori Coker says, Knicks full game and the under. And there's Razor Sharp Picks. He says, shout out to everyone. What's up, Mike, my guy? I felt like I just pulled a Dabby Cab on that shout out. I need to lubricate. A little vodka lubrication to get there. And Troy Torrance in the house. There's my guy. Troy says Pacers by 20, Yankees by 4, Mariners by 2 for Troy Torrance and his action today. Oldie says, Justin, what up? And Oldie's giving Razor the shout out. What's up? He says, stupid. Derek B says, what up, Big Mike? Got the Phillies. Yeah, let's go, my guy. Al Cervix says, I'm driving and texting because it's Mikey. Oh, man. Pull over. We're only going to be like 3 hours, and then you guys can go back home and do what you got to do. No, I'm just kidding. We shouldn't be that. We better not be that long tonight. I got some of them 7:30, 7:45 plays I got to finalize and lock down, but we're ready to go, you guys. Let's blast through a recap here. I told you, I wasn't fucking around when I told you that this shit's been firing lately, and firing again we did last night. It's been a tremendous run. I'm privileged to be here in front of you guys to share it with you, and I'm humbled because these gambling gods are fickle and got to be confident, but not cocky. So there's a line we're going to try to walk here. If I get cocky, just let me know. Just let me know. And Razor Sharp says, shout out to the guy who owes me $100 in the chat. It's not me, is it? I'm not technically in the chat, am I? I don't think it's me. But let's go. Let's get after it, guys. I told you 0-2 in hockey yesterday. Disappointed. Got to do better. Colorado, Rangers, bad. Just bad. All around bad. That's all I can say about that. I changed the gears a little bit tonight. I got 2 plays in the Rangers game. On the Boston game. I've got nothing as of yet on Edmonton, so we will talk about that. Shout out to Dana Delp, gifting a Pub Sports Radio membership. Dana, here's to you. Here's to blessing our action and helping us grow this humble community, one member at a time. It's guys and girls like Dana Delp and the company. You guys come in on the regular. You help us build this thing and grow it on the day. Let's go. Cheers, Mike. I appreciate that. Give me some hydration to recalibrate. All right. Let's go here. Tampa Bay under 8.5 was a plus 310 parlay. Smashed it. Atlanta and the under 8.5 was a plus 180 parlay. Smashed it. Pittsburgh first 5 over 4.5. What a bad spot to be in that game. The fucking game sails over. They got like 20 runs. But the first 5, they stopped at 4. That sucked. Adames, though, did get the RBI, so we'll cash the plus 145. I wanted that steak bet with Bouquet, and somehow I ended up owing him a steak. I might be the only guy in the pub sports world that Jose Bouquet a steak. Yeah, it's water. Razor Sharp. Come on now. I got a long day to go. I got to keep the pipes lubricated. We did win the LA Angels first 5, minus 108. We lost the full game, minus 106. Now, what's funny about that is Jose and I were texting back and forth during the game. There's a plus 1,500 out there, and they wouldn't let Jose slide in on it, but they did let me get in there. So true story. It was like real time when it was happening. Jose was in the process of, it was like 4-1 too. That cocky son of a bitch was breaking my balls, and they were down 4-1. It's like, oh man. So anyways, we took that out. And then San Diego first 5 team total over. That's like my favorite play, but it's not correlating to success. So it is what it is. We swept the mini sweep there in Houston. 3 play a days are sweeps, I guess. But when you go 3 plays in a series or a game, that's a sweep as well. First 5 over 4.5 cash for us. Houston over 8.5 cash for us. And there's Kyle leading home run smasher and masher in Major League Baseball, Tucker, with a plus 155 RBI for us. Arizona under 8.5 didn't cash. I don't know about this Boston series. Boston first half under 105.5 didn't cash. Tatum fucking gets it done. But Pritchard over 1.5 threes at plus 150 did cash for us. Then we went down the run, and again, another little mini sweep there with OKC. OKC plus 1.5. Never in doubt. Shout out to my guy, Dutch Boy Fresh. I guess the fits that OKC had on were just a little better last night there. We got the plus 1.5. PJ Washington over 2.5 threes cashed, and then Shea, baby. We had Shea over 30.5. We talked about it. We said his 31 points wasn't enough to win the games. He was going to have to go out deeper into the deep end of the pool to get that job done. And he got 34 points last night, and OKC won the game. So that's how we kick it off there. That's the Monday that we want to have in the books. We got bills to pay, and we need to get that cash. So let's roll into it tonight, you guys. I'm starting with the NHL. We're going to jump into the NHL. Then we will move on into Major League Baseball. I know Billy the Kid, the Ninja, the Hardwood, will be in here ready to give us his best bets. But I'm ready to roll here tonight. So let's go with game number 1. We got a big spot here. Elimination game for this Bruins Florida Panthers team. Tricky spot. Tricky spot. What do you want to say about this series right now? Florida has been busting up this Boston Bruins team, and very reminiscent, but of last go round in the playoffs. There, the Panthers now up 3-1 in this series. They lost that first game 5-1 on home ice. They've run it back 6-1, 6-2, 3-2 that last game. Boston blows the lead, and I know everybody's ready to put the fork in Boston. I know they are. They're saying it's all done, but I don't think so. Listen, Marchand's definitely a big factor for these guys to lose in this game. No doubt about it. You'd rather have him than you wouldn't. Lucic, some off-ice fuckery and shenanigans for that guy as well. Not situations you want to be at. But when I look at this game here and what I see with these two goalies here is we're going right back to Swayman and we've got Bobrovsky. To me, elimination game. I added a play in this one as well, and I'll tell you exactly why I got there. The first period over 1.5 is minus 115. This is elimination. They can't go out there, fuck around, and get busted up early. They got to play a disciplined hockey game. Because their backs are against the wall and they're on the road, I expect a defense first, control the puck, at least 2/3 of the game. Stay out of the penalty box. Stay out of that fucking penalty box. For Christ's sakes, you're not going to win the game when you're down a man every fucking 3 minutes. It's just not going to happen. So when I look at this thing now, I bust it up and I say, they're not pulling the cord on Swayman. There's still some confidence in some neighbors. Anyhow, there's still some confidence in what's going on with Jeremy Swayman when he's out there in the net. And there should be. Those 2 games that got busted up, that game plan for Boston Bruins was beat these guys up, make them black and blue, and make them hurt. And that's why they were out there dominating in the opposing hits out there, putting their opponents on their back. Now, Tkachuk got a little dirty. The previous game. I thought he would have to keep his head on the swivel, but 3-2 game, maybe that was the head on the swivel. Maybe that was the situation where he was nervous early, and that's why Boston pulled ahead. Let's go to the ref report. Let's talk about this ref report for a minute. We got a game. First of all, let me jump back a step. Teams that are on a 2-game losing streak in the NHL are 109 and 95. It's not a huge margin, but it does show that after that 2-game losing series here, or 2-game losing streak, I just don't think the NHL is ready to shut this series down yet. They're getting great ratings, higher than they've had. And I don't believe in the tinfoil hat that this shit's fixed. I just think that these teams are pretty competitively matched, despite the fact that Boston's been taking the belt to the back of their ass this last couple of games. Let's talk about the ref report. We got this ref report going on here. Steve Kosari, Kyle Reichman. In these Boston series, Boston is 8-1 to the under when Kyle Reichman is out there officiating the game. Not calling an abnormally low amount of penalties on Boston is what this Kyle Reichman's doing out there as the assistant linesman. That's why I like that first period under 1.5. I added that when I saw the official status for these refs. It's minus 115 for the first period under 1.5. Then we look at the Richmond factor for Boston this year. Now, he's the assistant linesman, but he's the guy that's going to have the whistle predominantly ready to fire. He's not the guy that goes and puts the headset on when they go to the penalty box to review a goal or a potential penalty. He's the guy that's out there actively policing the ice. What does he do in those situations? He's 2-0 this season for Boston. Last season, he was 3-1 for Boston. The season before that, he was 3-0 for Boston as well. Now, the other problem on the other side of this ice is this fucking Steve Kosari guy. He's 1-2-1 this season for Boston, but he was 2-0 last season for Boston. So maybe some bad spots here. He is 2-0 for Florida this season. He's 3-2-1 last season for the Florida Panthers. He's 4-1 the season before that for the Florida Panthers as well. I separate the two, though, because if you know the way these linesmen kind of rotate and the way things go out there, the one that would hurt him is the assistant linesman calling all the penalties, and he's shown an 8-1 track record of the under for the Boston Bruins. I'm taking a swing here. I don't think this series is done yet. I'm going after this Boston team. It's bad. Not good. There's no question about it, but 86% of everybody thinks this fucking Bruins team is done. Everybody but me. I'm going to take a shot with this Boston Bruins team. First period under 1.5, minus 115. Ref's going to keep it in the pocket, let these boys open up and play. And I like the Bruins at plus 185 tonight to get this job done. Not excited about the 0-2 last night, but that was last night. This is tonight. We have the opportunity to make that up on the hop, lickety split. Let's move on. Let's talk about game number 2. Got to get this thing moving. Got to get the show on the road. It's the Vancouver Canucks and the Edmonton Oilers. Now, these fucking guys should hit the panic button right now. These guys absolutely need to be concerned. Vancouver Canucks and Edmonton Oilers. I'll preface it by saying I don't have an official spot yet on this game. No official spot for me yet. I'm going to tell you where I lean, and I'll tell you right off the hop, that's going to be a lean to Edmonton Oilers winning this game in regulation as well. The ratings are too high. The NHL's not ready to punt this fucking series yet either. This is the Canadian series that's got all the fans jacked up and ready to roll. The surprise variables is Artur Silov's guy. This guy's been out there standing on his head, playing phenomenal ice hockey out there, and Edmonton's been effectively neutralized. Now, I talked the other day about the Evander Kane spot. Maybe Evander Kane's just a loser. He's a bad gambler. It's documented. Ask his ex-wife. On top of that, he's got this bullshit sports hernia thing that's fucking around with his ability to go out there on the ice. You know, this is the difference between NBA players and NHL players. He should be sitting out, giving somebody else the opportunity. But what he's doing is he's rolling in there, showing him he's a man. Maybe he's got big gambling debts. I don't know. But I do like the fact that they're going to Picard as well. If you know a little bit about Calvin Picard, this is almost the way we knew to start the NHL playoffs. Skinner was definitely going to be an issue. He is an issue. He was an 87% saving percentage goaltender throughout the regular season. They kept Calvin Picard back there on ice, ready to go, specifically for this season. It's like the second season of the postseason starts right now for these NHL teams when they go to that backup goalie. Not just giving this guy rest because it was the situation. Panger Life says Picard will get lit up. I'll tell you why I don't think he does. Because who else am I going to bitch at about the Flyers making stupid moves if Picard goes out there and gets lit up? He was a former Flyers goalie, played well in the AHL, just didn't have what it takes. The Flyers do ruin goaltenders. And now here's a guy starting in net for the Edmonton Oilers, backs against the wall. They need it. There's a lot of kumbaya going on the bench. And if you watch the early skate today, you can dial in with NHL TV and see some of those early morning skate opportunities. A lot of kumbaya going on between Stuart Skinner and, in this case, Picard. It looked like Skinner was relieved that he didn't have to go out there because he's just trying to figure it out and find it. And this is where teams can pick up and fire off. And I do think in this case, Edmonton in regulation is most likely going to be the play that I get involved with here. Too easy right now to say, that Vancouver's going to go out there and smoke them and it's all done and it's plus 175. That could very well be the case. I just don't think so right now. You look at this Picard guy, 12 wins, 7 losses. He's got a 2.45 goals against average, the best goaltender in the Edmonton Oilers stable. 90.9 save percentage, the highest save percentage out there as well. Series starts tonight. This is absolutely do or die for the Edmonton Oilers. I'm floating between the regulation and the minus 1.5 for Edmonton. I have to think about it a little bit more. The Saucy injury factor or the Saucy suspension's a big deal for a defenseman that took, if you watch the end of that game, big cross check right to the fucking face of Connor McDavid. And they suspended him for a game. So he will be out this game, meaning they are going to have a limited rotation of defensemen or have to bring up somebody that's the young gun to get it done. So there is some fluid movement going on in that Vancouver lineup, and Edmonton is putting their better goaltender in. So game on. I don't think this is as cut and dry as everybody is to say Vancouver's just going to go out there and toast these guys. Draisaitl, let's not forget what he's done this season. Zach Hyman's had a tremendous season as well, and Connor McDavid what's he got, 120 assists right now. I don't think these boys are ready. I'm sorry, 100 assists regular season. I don't think these boys are ready to go home just yet. I think there's still a little bit more bark in this dog. And I'd be wary of this numbers. Look at Edmonton's gotten shut down left and right, yet this line's minus 200. Now, you could say that they're trying to sucker fuck all those people that love Connor McDavid blindly into betting this Edmonton team minus 200. I choose to think it's for a reason that we've got this Edmonton team. Then you look at the minus 1.5, it's plus 125. If it was, plus 1.8, I don't know, just feels to me like plus 125 on the minus 1.5 says this game might even see, this game's going to be, I think this is a 1-goal game. I don't want to say it's going to go to over. We might even see overtime in that game. There's a lot of conjecture about what will happen in this game. I'm leaning to the Edmonton Oilers in regulation. I haven't pulled the trigger just yet. I doubled up to start the card off with that New York Rangers play and the first period under. Low juice, positive opportunity, positive money to get the job done. That's how we're going to open the NHL card. Stay tuned. Make sure you follow me on X. Whatever move I make on that Edmonton game, I will officially push that out there live on X for you guys. I do like that Boston plus 185 in the first period under. Let's talk about some Major League Baseball, because right now, I said this the other day, is it fucking crazy to think that somebody could be like 30-5 in their last 35 Major League Baseball plays? And that's, by the way, that's not a 3-month sample. That's a 3-day sample. And I used to think that. But here we are as we get rocking today. We got this thing moving in our direction again. Let's keep it crushing and taking names right now. First game I got on the card for me, 7:10 p.m. opens up with Tampa Bay. Boston right now with a line that went from minus 130 to minus 115. Reverse line movement alert for this Boston Red Sox team. They open at minus 130, down to minus 115, 74% of the bets and 70% of the cash on the Boston Red Sox. On the total, we've got downward movement as well. This total opened early. Look-ahead lines were 10. We're down to 9s and even 8.5s out there. 95% of the bets and 96% of the cash on the over in this game. We got I was going to say, we got Nick Pivetta. If you know Philadelphia, you know what I was going to say about Big Nick, but it's Nick Pivetta going for Boston with a 3.6 ERA. Savali is definitely the question mark for this game with a 5.88 ERA. But we talked about it yesterday. Definitely nervous yesterday, right? They came out and they were firing right off the gate. We were fortunate to get that Tampa in the under, but these AL East battles, it's like one-sided early in the season, and then it flip-flops the other side of the season. Let's not forget, like the Toronto Blue Jays couldn't beat anybody in the AL East to start the first half of the season last year. The second half of the season, what we saw was everything in the AL East kind of came back to a boil, and they were about 50-50. They kicked the shit out of everybody outside of the AL East. They were like 75% winning, all the AL East teams. But when they played each other, they ended up being around that 50% spot. Boston, we know, started the season off hot with the bats on the road. Now they're back home. Things are a little cooler, a little more temperate out there. And then we've got this Tampa Bay team coming in who was effectively silenced through the first half of this, almost a full quarter to start the season. That Yankee series, things popped up. Go figure, the AL East. They lost that game 2-0 to open the series. Then they fire off 7-2 victory, a 10-6 loss, and then a 5-3 gas them out there against this Boston team. Bats are alive for Tampa. I think it's enough to get through Savali. I'm not going to mess around with the first 5 Savali situation because I am concerned with them. I could actually see this being Boston's up like 2-0, and then they puke up the lead, and Tampa comes back and fires off a nice like 4-2 type of win. But official play for us, why not run it back? Tampa Bay and the under 8.5 plus 340. Let's roll. Andrew G says the temperature warmed up, then the ass kicking begun. That's exactly the case, my guy. That's exactly the case. I get fired up. I'm excited about it. And I just want to make sure that we keep it rolling. So let's do just that. Let's move on to game number 2. You'll see official game number 1, Tampa. You guys want to play them individually, that's on you. Nice thing about baseball is it's a volume sport, and there's great plus money opportunities to get there. But you run the statistics, you play enough 65% edges, you're going to go out there and you're going to cash a bunch of fucking tickets. So how do you want to play? That's your call there. I mean, you can get Tampa right now at even money. You can get the under 9 out there in some cases. Let me just double check. Now that I'm seeing this number flippity flop around, let me take a peek at what's going on with this under 9 on DraftKings. By the way, I wouldn't be mad at anybody that wanted. I can't see if anybody's on base or not, but it's a live bet opportunity right now for this Washington Nationals team. First game of a series, the correlated spot there with the total production of runs. There's a lot of opportunity going on for that against this White Sox team that's in their first game of the series. So for what that's worth, keep that on the radar. But Tampa in the under 8.5 has moved to plus 350. It doesn't make me like it less. I mean, we're 10 cents in that. It wouldn't matter what that line did for me not to like it at this point. So full disclosure. Onward and upward, let's talk about game number 2 in the Major League Baseball card, 7:20 p.m. The Cubs and the Braves. It's like we're going back to the scene of the crime. You already know what we're going to do. We're doing it again. We did it yesterday. We did it successfully back-to-back times last week in that Boston Red Sox series. Speaking of Boston Red Sox and their inability for their bats to find a groove right now, we cashed twice with Atlanta in the under last week. We're going back to it again tonight. We cashed it last night. We're going again here. The Cubs have moved from, the Atlanta Braves have moved from minus 198 down to minus 190. 93% of the bets and 96% of the cash on the Atlanta Braves. As far as the total reverse line movement alert, 88% of the bets on the over, 84% of the cash on the over. The lines moved from 8.5 down to 8. You guys have already talked about it being sale day. Here's a bad combination. Jamison Taillon into a bullpen. I just don't think this. Taillon's got to go deep for these guys to have any kind of a prayer in this Chicago Cubs team, in my opinion. Atlanta, after an under, is 15-8 to a win. They're 5-17 to the under. And versus a winning team is 3-12 to the under. And Atlanta is a perfect 18-0 when they're lined over a minus 160, neutralizing any offense that the other team brings to the field out there. We're running back to it again. No more. Yeah, we've talked about this same Atlanta situation now. This is the 4th time in the last 2 weeks. And again, there's no reason. You look at the Jamison Taillon ERA 1.13. He goes deep. It just leads to the advantage. The big guy I think they got to worry about tonight is Acuna. It seemed like a Ronald Acuna is going to kick the shit out of him, 2+ RBI type of day. As long as they can kind of neutralize that, they got to get through this rotation twice for Chicago to even have a prayer. But I'm not going to mess around with that first 5 either. I just want Atlanta. I want the under 8. And I'm going to go back and cash that thing again with a plus 170 spot out there. Leonard Porsche's Mike suggesting we take Washington plus 115. Yeah. Yeah, I am suggesting it. I outright did it. I can't see what the situation, though, is with runners on base at this point. So I can't do much more than that for you guys. But but that being said, let's roll on, guys. Now there's some games that we're going to talk about that have a little bit of a different edge and a little bit of a different strategy here. Again, Atlanta, you want to get there, minus 190. I don't. I would if I was only going to single that game, I would probably lean to the under 8 at this point. Just because, again, we've got big reverse line movement, and these two pitchers should go out there and shove. But 7:40 p.m., the Pittsburgh Pirates, the Milwaukee Brewers out there on the mound and backwards yesterday. Had this one backwards, first 5 over, and ended up being an under, and the full game ended up going over. So shame on me. But that being said, this line opened up at minus 166 for the Brewers. It's down to minus 155. 84% of the bets and 86% of the cash on the Brewers. It's Joe Ross Day for the Brewers. We'll talk about that in a second. Then we got a total that's been flip-flopping between 8.5s and 8s. It opened at 8. It has moved as high as 8.5. And that's, I think, to the advantage for us right now. It's juiced to the under. So it's not a real 8.5, meaning, if it was like minus, I don't know. I mean, it's just kind of one of those things where if it went to 9 and we had to juice on the under, I could see that being a full move here. But the 8.5 is even money still. That's kind of where it's not a full true 8.5. 94% of the bets, 93% of the cash on the over. We've got Quentin Priester, 3.8603 record on the season for this guy. Man, we nailed him last game out there. Fade away on his busted ass, and that worked out for us. But in this case, we got Joey Ross coming to the bump here. And guess what Joey Ross does at home as a favorite after a loss? He wins. He's 9-1 straight up in those spots. He's winning on average by 3 runs a clip. He's 8-2 against the run line in those spots. Home favorite after a loss is the bounce back spot for 4.75 ERA, Joey Ross. I also jumped in on this under. I like this under. This under is a specific under for the 8.5. So I added the Milwaukee Brewers -1 at minus 115. And then I went to the Milwaukee under 8.5. I can't look at yesterday's game in this case. Maybe I should to some degree, but This is an 8.5. When you're 8.5 off a loss playing a shit team is defined by winning less than 50% of the season and the game went over. It's the bounce back. It's the opposite. It's the zigzag. It's the yin yang. It's whatever you want to call it. It's 131-62 to the under, specifically in the 8.5 versus shit team off a game that went on and over. Big opportunity for this under. Now, I didn't take this one parlay, -1.5 versus the under 8.5. You might say, well, you did it on the other two games. What's the difference here? The difference here is I just saw 50 fucking runs get scored yesterday. So my overall concern is I trust Joe Ross. I like Joe Ross in the first 5. I like him in the full game. I like Milwaukee first 5 in full game spot. I'm going to play this with 2 separate units, though, 1 unit on each, because end of the day, if they end up scoring 12 runs, I don't want to have lost the opportunity to neutralize that with this Joe Ross home favorite situation, 9-1 straight up, 8-2 on the run line. Probably the best explanation I can give you guys there. You see the records overall for these things, and a lot of those, we'll go 1-1 in a lot of spots until we get hot, and then we see what we do with like baseball yesterday, and we start stacking up wins. And the NBA as well, those mini sweeps, 3 or 4 games in a row. As long as we can keep in that 1-on-1 battle, we can fight the war and have plenty of ammunition to get it done. So this one got split because I like these individual trends, not to bundle them just together. I want the Joe Ross factor -1, and then I like that under 8.5, the yin-yang factor out there. Of the two that I'd be most concerned that somehow this game ends up with 15 runs again. But again, that's kind of looking at what I saw yesterday that makes the determination for it. Let's roll on. I see Joe Free says best RBI of the day. Well, Joe Free, perfect segue to our next game. Let's talk about this game here in Minnesota, the New York Yankees, the Minnesota Twins. Firing bullets here. We've got some last-minute line movement back to confirm this Yankees play. It's moved from -144 down to -120. However, it was floating around -114 about 45 minutes ago. 70% of the bets, 99% of the cash on these Yankees, and it has now moved back in that Yankees direction to a -120. As far as the total, we got 89% of the bets and 91% of the cash on the over, and this line has moved a half a run to the over. First game of the series, you guys already know my deal. Chris Paddock, no go, no bueno. 4.34 ERA. Somehow he's 4-1. It's because they've won like 25 of 27 games this Minnesota Twins team has. Now, that's not going to battle on forever. I foreshadowed this by talking to you guys about what the AL East does out of conference. And that being said, the Minnesota Twins definitely handled them Toronto Blue Jays. So kind of the law of averages and getting these guys back to 50-50s definitely has me going on this Yankee side of things here. I love this Yankees play at -1. I don't love Rodon. I don't love Rodon with a 3.56 ERA and being 3-2 on the season, but like perfect conditions right now, 70-degree Fahrenheit and 7 miles an hour wind. Guess who I'd like to go out there and go yardstick in this game here? We're looking at Dinger Tuesday. It's a big opportunity to get the job done. I'll tell you guys, first and foremost, the rested road team that ends up on the run line as a plus money favorite. We're going to keep our eyes on that one. Rested road team, when you give them the their plus money on the run line, the -1.5. Rested road team, -1.5, that's plus money. 74-29 in those spots. 74-29. Road favorites, the first game of a series, are 264 and 156 as well. So some strong numbers there that command opportunity and action. I think in this case, this is just a case of everybody's been seeing what the Minnesota Twins have been doing and not recognizing that Paddock's a pure piece of shit, a pile of dog shit, this Chris Paddock guy, and I expect him to get touched up tonight. In fact, I think he gets a little bit on the roast job here. I originally was looking to the total on this game, but, I took a circle back. I said, you know what? Give me the guy that swings the fastest in Major League Baseball, that hits the hardest in Major League Baseball. This guy went out there and ripped up a 118.5 mile per hour home run. That hardest hit in Major League Baseball. What's he do the next day? He says, that's not good enough. He goes 119.9 miles per hour deep. The hardest hit ball in baseball this season. Guys like Aaron Judge and Juan Soto are looking at this guy going, whoa, this guy hits hard. And the fact that he's in the groove, swinging hard to me, give me an opportunity to take Giancarlo Stanton. The RBI for Giancarlo was plus 150 when I was on Sharpie's show earlier today. Hardest hitting, fastest swinging. Everyone's taking notice of what this guy does out there, and he's priced right in that sweet spot for us. Give me some young car. Oh, he's priced at plus. Is it falling again? You know what we did yesterday going 2-0. It is falling again. Oh, baby, plus 147. Put the kids to bed early. Get the popcorn out. I think it's Giancarlo Stanton night tonight for the RBI. Same, almost identical situation to the 2-0 spots that we had last night for those ribbies. Giancarlo Stanton to get the job done. Plus 147. You want to take this home run shot? I'm not mad at that either. You look at this home run opportunity for this guy, and it's plus 400. Plus 400 if you want to have him go yardstick out there. I got 2 games left, and then we're going to get this thing moving because the WNBA is here and Billy Briz is rolling. I called an audible with some of these added plays for you guys. The first audible I went to, this Colorado-San Diego Padres game. I'll give you guys the numbers and kind of how I approached it initially, but I made a change. I made a last-minute change. And we'll see if it works out for us here. Colorado, San Diego, the San Diego Padres out there. Of course, Colorado on, what are they now? A 5-game winning streak. This line opened at minus 295 for the Fathers. It's down to 275. 93% of the bets and 81% of the cash. However, it's not true line movement in that case because the Rockies went from plus 240 to plus 250. Books are just kind of right-sizing or stabilizing their action that they had out there. The total is where we want to put our eyes on. 95% of the bets on the over, 95% of the cash on the over. It's gone from 8 down to 7. What do we know? Well, let's take a step back. Teams that are longer than a plus 185, meaning that they're getting more odds than a plus 185, ergo a plus 250, are 0-20, and they're getting busted up by almost 4 runs a game in those spots. They're 3-17 on the run line if their starter won the previous meeting or lost by 1 run. So definitely here comes this Colorado Rockies team in an 0-20 spot. Strong favorites off a bad game versus starter off a win. Huge run system in that spot as well for us. Strong favorite, bad game, starter off a win. Big bounce back opportunity out there as well. The margin of victory in those spots was almost 5.5 runs. The strong favorite coming off that loss. The books are coming. It's almost like we talked about with the Edmonton Oilers. You're coming off a loss. The books are marking you up as a big favorite. And they kick ass and take names. In fact, I'll give you guys the exact number that's associated with that there. Let's see. 35-0. Oh, that's all. Just a modest 35-0 in that spot. No big deal. And again, that margin of victory is why I originally looked at going to the San Diego Padres -2. It's minus 104. I called an audible. It's my play sheet. I can call an audible if I want. I parlayed the San Diego Padres, the Fathers, with the Seattle Mariners. And I got it to plus 115. I had to, it's a big card already for me. And that being said, I don't want to go out there and continue to add up. So I might play these individually as we get later in the day, but official play for me, home favorites on the 7. You guys remember we talked about that, provided it's not the first game of a series. The home favorites on a 7 are kicking ass and taking names. Why not just slap the 2 of them together, get rid of the runs, have no run line needed, no pushes in play. Just give me these 2 guys to come together for a plus 115. San Diego and Seattle. That's the home favorites on a 7 situation. Last game for me in Major League Baseball. I'll tell you guys, it's the series that's got me. It's got me. I'm on the hamster wheel with this series here. I'm looking at the Cincinnati Reds, 9:40 p.m. going out there against the Arizona Diamondbacks. We got a line that opened at minus 118, 74% of the bets and 55% of the cash on the Arizona Diamondbacks. The line has dropped from minus 118 to minus 114. In fact, we went from even money on the Reds to a minus 102. Then we look at the total, 95% of the bets, 93% of the cash on the over, and we have no line movement. Frozen line movement alert in this situation. Now, Hunter Green's a pile of shit. He's 1-7 in full game starts. But that one win was when Hunter Green was a road dog, and that's important to note for this game here. I think this is the bounce back. We saw that Arizona had Cincy's number. Now we're starting to see it kind of flip-flop back the other way. What do we have in this situation here? We got another one for you guys. The road team line between a plus 140. I'm sorry. The home team line between 160 and minus 1. Fuck that up again. The road team line between plus 160 and minus 120. That's the spot we talked about with young Jose Bouquet yesterday, 46-5. That was a Dodger spot yesterday. That was that Tampa Bay spot yesterday as well. The road team awful loss between a -120 and a +160, 48-5. Doubled up. Give me the Cincinnati first 5. Give me Cincinnati full game. They're both even money spots. I'm thinking worst case, I end up 1-1 in this spot, and I have no vig, no action, no juice. But I expect Cincy to go out there, put the hammer down on these boys. Hunter Green's only road dog or only W there on the road in a full game start came on the road. Give me Hunter Green. And give me some Billy Briz in my life here. Let's get him on screen. I see him back there. Well, I don't see him back there now. We'll give him a second to pop in there and get ready to roll. Nasty Nate says RBI plus 158 for him. Is that the Giancarlo Stanton RBI? Kelly D says cease the beast. Rob McMahon says Razor, because Razor Sharp says, let's see what witty comment Razor Sharp had to say. Race number 1823 exact and try box. Oh, wait, sorry. I heard Paddock and got excited. And Smoke and Mirror says, Paddock, did we just switch to the thoroughbreds? You guys love it. I love it too. Let's go. There he is. He's ready to roll. Speaking of it, we love this guy. He comes out there and does nothing but put money in our pockets here on Tuesdays. The ninja of the hardwood. Going to be trying out some WNBA. Let's bring on Billy Briz to talk about the hoops, baby. What up, Billy?
What up, Mikey? How you feeling, man?
I'm feeling great. Razor says, who says RBI without a player? Is that every player? Giancarlo Stanton. You didn't hear me get excited about Giancarlo Stanton and his numbers moving. Let's go, Billy. I'm ready for a big night, Billy. It's the opening night of the WNBA. And I think we start there. We've got time for the NBA. The NBA starts at 8, but I know you've got 4 games. You've got to give us an assessment coming into the WNBA. And I'll tell you what, selfishly, I want to spend more time not just watching the WNBA, but capping it and give me a starting point as we get into this thing here. I'll tell you, novice at best. I had a nice run at the end of last year, and it was really playoff time that the run kind of started for me. But outside of that, I know that there's a future up and coming star that's going to make her debut today. I know that we've got this Liberty team who kind of got run out the gym there in the championship, but have had some significant line movement as well. The first game on the card is the New York Liberty and the Mystics, 7 p.m. Line open at 13.5. Has moved down to 10.5. And shout out to the Washington Nationals now on the board 5-3. Billy Briz, I'm eagerly anticipating your WNBA conversation this season, and it starts tonight, my guy. Bust it out for us. Tell us about. I'd love for you to regale us with your story of how you were helping on the practice squad, but that's for a different channel. That's for a different channel. We'll get into it right now. Shout out to our guy, Trash Channel, who doesn't love trash. Let's go, my guy. Appreciate you becoming a new member. Thank you for believing in the boys. That's a new name, Billy.
But the first game here, we got the Liberty and the Mystic here. This line actually opened up 12.5, came down a little bit to 10.5 hours where I'm seeing. The Liberty actually opened up their season last year, defeating the Mystics by 16, and it's pretty much the same roster from last year for the Liberty without a couple of their bench players. But the same can't be said here for the Mystic. They lost their leading scorer in Elena Deladon. She's out. Top playmaker Natasha Cloud is out. They've been replaced by Stephanie Dolson and Carly Samuelson. Carly Samuelson coming off the Carly Samuelson's sister that was on the Sparks. She's actually on the Fever. She's in the starting lineup. But this is the Samuelson from the Sparks that played last year. She got the roster spot because her sister got pregnant. Talk about luck. Pregnancy led to a roster spot and a WNBA career. Stephanie Dolson used to be on the Liberty last year. She actually got drafted by the Mystics. She's going to be their starting center. So if you're a daily fantasy player out there, a little bit of value out there, bare minimum price. But where I'm getting at here is their offense struggled last year. It's hard seeing Washington competing in this game despite it being their home opener. I'm leaning towards Liberty, but I'm actually liking the under here. We basically have a newly assembled squad that's trying out some bench piece rotations. And I think execution is going to be the game plan here for the Liberty. While the Mystic, on the other hand, they're trying to figure it out. Shakira Austin's probably their leading scorer. She's on a minutes limit. So not only do you have your top 2 players from last year not on the team, top player this year is on a minutes limit. That screams a fucking under 164 and a half at minus 115.
All right. I like it. I'm gonna make a notation for live betting purposes for me because I've got a juiced up card tonight, and I've got action on this next game. But I thought that was a great breakdown, and shout out to you for opening up the WNBA season with us here. The Liberty, the Mystics. I tell you, I would almost be inclined to fade around the movement now. Like to your point where you were saying around the Liberty. Opens at 13.5. It's dropped at 10.5. I saw that all the time. These lines are super sharp. And when they start making those moves like that, the steam chasers end up taking the big L. So we'll keep our eyes on kind of how that, I'll see if I can get some more data as this season materializes, but just felt like these numbers were sharp to begin with. And, then they get that run, and at 13.5, the Mystics probably made a lot of sense. I did hear somebody compared the level of NHL betting to the level of WNBA betting. So when you see those moves, the early moves are typically the sharp individuals getting it done. Lucky Power says 140 people watching, only 50 likes. Wow. Mike Pimp Slap. LOL. You guys need to do a better job with that. Come on now. Check yourselves here. We got to get into this thing and grow this brand. All we're doing is coming out spitting fire for you guys, and we got our best to do it here on Tuesday with Billy Briz. Take a look down if you haven't hit that thumbs up button yet. Where else you hearing in-depth WNBA breakdowns, actual official plays to start the season? And what the fuck? We're giving you live bets as well. The Washington Nationals are now up 6-3. Who knew it was going to be that kind of show today? We're going to have a monster card, and we're going to get a ton of cash. We need you guys to smash that thumbs up button. I want to do some contests and some promos, but I can't be doing it when we're getting 60 likes out there. It's not going to work for us. Joseph Alvarado says that Washington hit 2 more runs. And Marcus McCarthy says, little man Billy, LOE driving. Yeah, let's go. Let's talk about this Fever and Sun game because I'm involved. I'm invested. We got this line open at minus 5.5. It's now 7s to 7.5s out there in some spots. A little buyback on this Indiana Fever. 65% of the bets, 90% of the cash. Guess why it's her debut? Yeah, here's the total. Speaking of why, how about that? The XY. Anyways, the total opens at 170.5, has moved down to 166, 61% of the bets and 76% of the cash on the under. It has moved 4.5 points. The most anticipated debut in WNBA history. I have no idea. I'm speculating it's got to be. Oh, we've heard about this girl and what she did in college. It's the big one for Caitlin Clark coming out there, getting it done for this Indiana Fever. And boy, I'll tell you what, I saw just a focused individual when they did when they showed the girls on the charter plane. First of all, I thought, how long is that fucking plane? All I saw was section after section. I don't know if you saw it or not, Billy. It looked like they weren't drinking cocktails, though. They looked like they just had some Cokes and things like that. But the Indiana Fever, the Connecticut Sun. Here come the Sun. Billy Briz, talk to us about this game here. 7:30. It's going to be on ESPN too. Of course, it's Caitlin Clark's debut, Billy. Lay it on us, my guy.
Yeah, this line's kind of getting steamed towards the side of the Connecticut Sun here. I mean, this line climbed up to as high as 8, settling here at 7.5, opened up at 5.5 here. And it's been one-way traffic here for the Connecticut Sun. And we're going to have opportunities to make money on the Fever. It's just hard to cap this one on opening night. The Suns are historically the best team in the East. They made it to semifinals in each of the last 5 years. The Fever still have Kelsey Mitchell doubtful in their backcourt, hence why this number has kind of gone up for the Connecticut Suns' way. For a side, I kind of lean towards the total going over 165.5. Kind of like the Caitlin Clark theory when she was playing at Iowa. You should see a high pace of play. And for the Fever, but I'm a little bit scared about their offensive efficiency. That's why I couldn't go to the window with the over here. This over was at 167.5. It came down a little bit to 165. And this is a pretty sharp game, to be honest with you. I mean, I would imagine it being Caitlin Clark's first game of the season, national television. They're going to have this one sharp right on the number. Point prop opened up 22.5, came down to 19.5. They're trying to entice bettors on the over. 3-point prop at 3.5. It seems like she hits 3 but doesn't get 4. This is one where I end up staying out of the betting window with, but we'll have it in the background.
I had to jump in on this one. So you guys in the chat are some funny cats out there. I'll tell you this. Start listening now because this shit's going to be all we got in baseball going on in the summertime. And who are you going to back? Guys that are just coming in talking about it or guys that have been busting it down since day one?
You see those Commissioner Cup games at 2:00 in the afternoon?
We're going to be going live. We're going to be doing live streams with Commissioner Cup games at 2:00 in Vegas out there. And you guys are going to want to join in because that's going to be where the action is at. So I'm excited to get the breakdowns now because let's start watching. Let's see how the season unfolds. And again, I think these are soft lines. Here's a soft line that I want to take advantage of. This line moved all the way up to 8.5. Now, I don't know. I watched some Caitlin Clark in the NCAA, no doubt. Skilled, talented player. I saw her making some logo shots and all that other shit too. This is the bigs, though. I see our guy, who was that in the chat there that had said that? Was it Juggler 23? So this is the big leagues. Clark will learn that very fast. And we always hear about having to adjust to the pace. The total for this girl set at 21.5. First of all, they were saying that like that's the average, that like her average point total for the season, 21.5. They were saying that no rookie player, no player in the WNBA is averaging over a 28 game sample, 21.5 points out there. So I was immediately inclined to bet her under in this spot because it's the first game of her WNBA career. But I love this last action movement. So I told you guys, I think that the sharp bettors, at least from my previous research, has shown that they're hitting this thing early. They saw this line at 5.5 and they wanted in all the way up to 8.5. Well, now it's close to game time and the public's going, oh shit, I just got home from work. It's Caitlin Clark's first game. Let me pound in on this thing. And they bought it all the way down to 7s out there in some cases. You got to be out your fucking mind. Caitlin Clark, this fucking rookie's going to come. Maybe she goes out there and sets the world on fire, but I don't see her walking on water here to start this thing off to pop it in. Give me this 7 at -115. I'm jumping in on my first official WNBA play will be the Connecticut Sun. Maybe I'm a sucker because it's at the Mohegan Sun Arena, and I know Billy was a resident of the Mohegan Sun for like a whole summer out there. So I want to tie those two together as well. Dana Dupp says -6.5. Dana, tell me what book you can get the 6.5 on because I want to jump.
BetMGM.
Is it BetMGM?
BetMGM I see has 6.5, and ESPN Bet, if you have that available in the state of New York, is at 6.5 -120. BetMGM has 6.5 -115. FanDuel's at 7.5. DraftKings has moved officially to 7. To be honest with you, I'm a little bit nervous about the side. For the Sun, I definitely do agree with you on the thought process that they're coming in and they're getting more views than what they usually get. And they're like, motherfucker, we've been here for years. I'm about to put a can of whoop ass. DeWanna Bonner's about to put a can of whoop ass on Caitlin Clark. If you've never seen DeWanna Bonner play before, talk about a girl that has not seen a shot that she did not like. DeWanna Bonner will shoot that shit. And Alyssa Thomas is basically like the Nikolai Jokic of this league. Like if there's ever a girl that you will ever see a triple-double prop for, it's only Alyssa Thomas, and that's it. And it will be at like +200, +175. That's when she starts warming up. But they got Brianna Jones back from injury. One of the reasons why Connecticut Sun didn't make that deep run last year against the Liberty was because they didn't have Brianna Jones in there in the front court, and they really shortened up their front court depth. We'll talk about it in a later game, but for example, Rebecca Allen went from not playing to starting center. So that tells you everything you need to know.
I love it. I'm involved. I just locked in the 6.5 while you were sharing the details with us there. I'm in. It's going to be my first official play in the W, and I'm excited about it.
ESPN girl, and they're giving you national television vibes.
ESPN 2, baby. It's the big lights. Let's see what happens. We got the third game on the card is a 10 p.m. start. We've got the Lynx and the Storm going on right now. This line opened up at 10.5, and it's had some significant downward movement from 10.5 to 7.5. We only see 80% of the bets, so we do have this little situation where DraftKings Action is suppressing some of the money. It's a 4,776 ticket count. Then we got a total that's kind of flip-flopped here. 74% of the bets on the under, yet it's kind of it's 48 to 52 as far as the over is concerned here. And we've got a 0.5 point of movement downward. So the public pounced in on this thing and started pushing it down. But We got the Minnesota Link, the Seattle Storm, Billy Briz, 10 p.m. Climate Pledge Arena, opening night out there, Pacific Northwest. It should be popping. Talk to us about this game.
Yeah, I talked to you about this in the DMs about how we kind of need to set like a ground basis going in on the opening night and opening nights for these teams to start off the season, because it might not be what we see later on in the season, if that makes sense. And that's how I kind of feel with this one. Some of the Lynx rotational depths has me off of betting them on the side. I kind of want to see how this team looks on over the weekend. They said Jusic is out for international duties and Cohen on the injury list. What the fuck do you mean you're out for international duties? Like, your little Russian team can't find whoever so-and-so to go play, and you go play in the WNBA? But each his own. Maybe she knows the Lynx aren't going to do too much this year, and she said, I got the script. I don't need to be there. Who knows? But the Storm's offensive additions this offseason is legit, man. This team went from bottom feeder last year to betting odds third in the West, which is actually pretty significant. Skylar Diggins is on this team. She came back from injury. She's going to be out there starting point guard for this team. They're going to get Neke Umbuwale over from the LA Sparks. She came over from free agency, and that's already adding to the core that they had in Jewel Lloyd and the Australian tall girl. I'm not even going to try to say her last name. But I think Seattle has one of the best home court advantages in the league. But opening night, I don't think we're going to see the full potential of this team. That's a lot of like rotational pieces that you added on into the season. So their preseason games this year, they played the LA Sparks on May the 4th, and they lost 79-84. The LA Sparks are dog shit this year. They have as many rookies on that. Rookies don't make it in the WNBA, and not only do they have rookies, they have them all starting. So that's a huge red flag. But then they bounced back against the Phoenix Mercury and beat them 85-59. And the Phoenix Mercury out Brittany Griner and Diana Taurasi kind of chilling on the bench. All right, that makes sense. So it's kind of hard to gauge. It's a yin and a yang for this team. I kind of want to watch it a little bit more, but I actually lean towards the Minnesota Lynx plus the 8.5 points. But if it's one of those ones like you ask me who wins or you ask me who covers. Who I think covers is the Lynx. If I had to bet it in the money line, I'd probably say the Storm.
I like the travel component there, because that's a lot like, I mean, Seattle, right? You're Pacific Northwest. It's a long way to get there. It's a lot of travel, especially for a lot of these East Coast teams that have to get out there. I like that look and that breakdown. It'll be interesting to see what home court advantage means for the Storm as the season progresses and they start getting some mileage underneath them as far as playing some games. It'll be interesting to see how that does impact. Now, Minnesota, to Seattle is certainly less margin than the others, but it'll be interesting to see. Now, that line is continuing to move as well. So it went from 10.5. They're starting to see 7.5s out there, and it's steaming on that Lynx side of things. So maybe there is that general perception that Billy has there where it's like, who's going to win or who's going to cover? And the two could very much be different situations. So Brandon the Great says, hey, Nate, you really like that Stanton RBI? Thinking of Talon. Yeah, I'm all over it. Brandon the Great. Nasty Nate. Nasty Nate's got a wrench. He'll hit that ball out of the yard with a wrench. He don't care. Let's go. All right, Billy, 10 p.m. last game on the docket. Then we're going to move into some NBA, talk about how we're going to get paid in tonight's playoff games here. But the Mercury and the Aces, the big opener for the Aces. And this is what I find every time the Aces get involved. I can't see cash flow. There's no cash flow on this game. Yet it's moved from minus 13.5 to minus 17s out there in some books. And the total that's dropped from 172.5 to 170. 67% of the bets are on the under. It has moved down 2.5 points, but kind of the story here, the Mercury rolling out there trying to get this thing done on the road, a big dog out there. Do they have any chance in hell, or is this just a matter of how many points does the Aces cover by? Do the Aces cover by?
So this is the interesting. I keep on using the word interesting. Make fun of me. I don't care. The injury report is the one to highlight in this one. The Mercury are going to be without Brittany Griner for an extended period of time. She broke her toe last week. This is the ring ceremony night for the Aces, who will be reigning in their second consecutive championship. I'm a little bit skeptical about the Mercury's front court depth without Grinder. They were only 7-21 ATS in 28 road games last year. Their defense without Grinder is highly a concern. They finished dead last in defensive rating versus the Aces last year, who were by far the best offensive rated team last season. The Aces are going to be without Chelsea Gray in their starting lineup tonight, but Plum and Young should be able to accommodate for that usage. As double-digit favorites last year, the Aces were 14-7-1. I think they get off to a good start to the season, man. You got to have a reason to kind of blow out these bad teams, and the blowout is written in the cards. I feel like with Kelsey, with Chelsea Gray being out of the lineup, Young and Plum are going to have a higher usage rating. So it's kind of up for them to have really good games. And Asia Wilson's going to absolutely dominate the paint without Brittany Grinder. I mean, the starting center listed for the Mercury is fucking Rebecca Allen. This girl went from not playing for half the year last year to a couple injuries happening, and she became a role player and then ended up starting, and the Connecticut Sun ended up getting bounced out the playoffs for a reason. I'm telling you, man, Asia Wilson's going to dominate today. However you want to slice it and dice it, you can get on it. I went over 9.5 rebounds over on Fanatics. Fanatics still got that little opener there. Despite the spread, this is the biggest matchup advantage on the slate. The Mercury are going to struggle without Grinder. A combination of Rebecca Allen, Morgan Burchett, and Natasha Mack is definitely not going to be anywhere close to slowing down the fucking MVP this year. I think the girls are going to get up. It's ring night ceremony. Historically, in basketball, when we have these ring night ceremonies, if this is the NBA, we'll be playing a first half under or a first quarter under. That's definitely on the cards of the table, but I think the Aces are just going to go out here and smoke these girls. Aces up tonight.
So what did you have there for the player prop?
Asia Wilson over 9.5 rebounds minus 130.
And then anything on the side or just a lean?
Aces minus 16.5.
Woo!
Minus
Billy.
1.
Billy Prince. Not wasted.
You lay the points. You lay the points because you know it's going to happen. You're going to think this is too many points, and we're going to look at this line from like 2 weeks from now, and we're going to be seeing the Aces at like minus 21.5, and we're going to be like, hey, shit, those 15s on opening night didn't look that bad.
I remember last season, it was like the Golden State Warriors when they were laying minus 30 a few years back there. It was like they were minus 20s. You had to lay 11 in the first half just to be able to get on the game. And they were still covering that thing comfortably. They'd be up 20 points at halftime. It was like, some easy spots to get if you could time it at the right spot there. But
Josh Lower says Mercury plus 850 money line. Let's go. We will have our Phoenix Mercury fun this year. It's just going to come down in the later months. Like last year, I think it was like the summer, right? It was kind of like around our start break, a little bit after fucking Diana Taurasi had the 42-point game. They're huge dogs. We will get on some Phoenix Mercury lines. Trust me, I'm a Mercury fan. It's just not tonight on opening night as they're having a ring ceremony in Las Vegas. Probably one of the last games on the card tonight, and it's a 16.5-point favorite. I think Vegas might just chop that one to the house tonight.
Well, that's awesome, man. You did the homework for us. Got us a good baseline here. We got a good baseline to build off of for the WNBA. Kind of know who's coming into the league, who's leaving the league, who's on the IR situation for a little bit to come here. And I think that was a great breakdown. I'm excited to see how the plays roll out tonight. And it should be a lot of fun. I know you're on the over, right? You got the let me just recap. Let me make sure I got it.
Under 164.5 Liberty Mystic. That game is probably just started. And we're on the Las Vegas Aces, biggest bet of the day, 10 o'clock game, ESPN2 after the Caitlin Clark game. And we're on Asia Wilson over 9.5 rebounds minus 130. Don't mind the double-double at all.
And I'm rolling in. I took the Sun minus 6.5 out there for my first official WNBA play as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun to see how I love when a new season starts there, get new hope, new opportunities. But let's go to a season that's deep in play now. The second round, we're going to move on over to the NBA. You guys, appreciate you hanging out with us here. Told you on the onset, we got a big card to go through. We're kicking ass. We're taking names. We open up and we fire when we're in situations like that. We don't play reserve. We got to capitalize and cash when we're seeing things clearly. And I think we've all been doing that as a collective unit here the last, it feels like the last week and a half to two at the very least. So that being said, the NBA is popping off at 8 p.m. They did us that service of letting us be able to squeeze that WNBA conversation in, which I think will be super valuable throughout the season. And we got the Pacers and the Knicks rolling into the Garden in a series battle right now that's opened up. The Pacers were plus 2.5. It's moved to 1.5 points of movement towards the Pacers. 53% of the bets and 51% of the cash on the Indiana Pacers. And this total is moving on up as well. 85% of the bets and 86% of the cash on the over. It's moved up a point as well now. So we've got ourselves some battling in the NBA round number 2, 8 p.m. Eastern. TNT in the Garden, tied series 2-2. Billy Briz. Let's get the men's game in the preview here. Let's see what's going on. Back-to-back losses here. Home court has been the decided advantage. Do the Knicks regain home court as they move forward here, in your opinion? Or do the Pacers find a way to edge them out? What do you think?
These are just one of those type of games where it's just take with the information that you want. You don't have to tell. You don't have to tell every bet.
Yeah.
The series is split 2-2 with each home team winning their game straight up. I feel like that public perception that the Knicks left in everybody's mouth on Mother's Day is just a little bit too much. The Pacers opened up at 2.5. This line's damn near a pick 'em. Returning back to MSG is kind of what the Knicks need, and 4-1 straight up in the postseason here at the crib. I'm going with the Knicks, bro. Going with the Knicks, man. On the money line, minus 115. No first quarter, no first half. We just want the full game. This is what we would like to say. We hope we're on the right side. The real gamble in this game, I hate to say it, but the real gamble on this game, you can call it, you can laugh at your computer at home or on your television. Scott Foster, lead official for this one. Is he going to blow the whistle like he did in the Sixers series? The way he was blowing the whistle in that Sixers series when the Knicks were playing against the fucking Sixers, man, I thought he had a fucking future ticket on the Knicks. And maybe he does. Maybe he does. We're going to find out tonight. We're on the Knickerbockers at home. Scott Foster special here. All jokes aside, though, I think the Knicks bounce back at home. These boys have not gotten rest the whole entire postseason. They finally got some rest in the last game. We're back in MSG, baby. I would say lay the points, but it's a pick 'em now. Do what you want. Do what you want with it. I'm on the Knicks.
There's a lot of really strong numbers that support the Knicks in this one here. And I know our guy opened it up there, Juggler 23, opened up talking about that trend with the Knicks here today. He says, I see some buyback on the Knicks starting to show up, which makes sense to me because we're sitting there with the main market there, the Madison Square Garden market, with an 8 p.m. start. So this last hour to me feels like, yeah, that does make sense. I was trying to find the numbers. Surprisingly enough, in a game like this with Scotty Foster, I fucking wrote it down and I can't find it now. That sucks. Anyways, doesn't matter.
Those
Here's what I'm looking at with this game.
Game 1 and 2 were not happening 3 and 4. Brunson's little ass was getting thrown down to the ground and they weren't calling shit. So this kind of goes back to the whistles. If the Knicks can get fouls and they can kind of get Indiana out of transition, shit, this game's going to be what the line shows you. Pick them. I wouldn't be shocked if this goes into OT.
I thought about finding a way to play this thing 82 different ways here. I'm on the Knicks for the first half. I like the Knicks starting off the first half. I'm going to recant that with this buyback coming in. I'm going to recant the Pacers full. You know what? Fuck it. I'm going to leave the Pacers plus 1.5. Fuck it. I don't want to go head to head with Billy.
Go to the grave with it. This is definitely out of like confident picks. This is definitely not confident. I'm just going with, I'm going with what the line is telling me. Fuck the market. I'm telling what the line is telling me. This is a fuck the market type of play because the market would tell you to bet the Pacers.
I'm going to tell you the other spot that I added as well. Give me Halliburton. Give me the double-double. Give me plus 175. Love it. His assist prop was sitting there at 8.5, slightly juiced to the under as well. But look, big players got to make them big plays in the big games, and this is as big as it gets right now. You're in the Garden in a tied series right now. I will say this: the Knicks are 7-0-1 against the spread as a favorite when they scored less than 97 points. That kind of goes in line with what Juggler 23 was saying earlier. And I can sometimes if I can pick apart a trend, I can feel comfortable going against it. In this case, the fact that OG Anunoby's out of this game is the big factor for me. When this guy's out, it's lights out for these Knicks out there. They just haven't seemed to perform. We talked about this before the last game for them boys as well. Juggler 23 says MSG is going to be rocking. I can't imagine a better stadium or arena to be at tonight than MSG for this game here. And you get that little bit of a later start. So, you know, those guys that have to deal, like right off the gate, this thing should be loud. It's not going to be one of those second half of the game. You can't believe how loud it is versus the first half. But I'm going in. I'm taking him. I'm rolling. I added the Holly double-double as well. I think this is that big player moment to step up. His 8.5 assist I was on the fence with that. It's plus 108. But I thought if he's getting 9, he might as well get 10. And if he's getting 10, he's getting 10 points. That's a double-double. So give me the opportunity for the plus 175 in that situation. But Billy, I'm less convinced in this next game that we have on deck here. This Milwaukee Timberwolves Denver Nuggets game. Man, I've been all over this thing here. We cashed some band at 21 plus at plus 2,200. We cashed some extended run lines or extended point lines out there. Here we go. This game opened at -3. It's now -3.5. 56% of the bets and 57% of the cash on the home team Denver Nuggets. The talk of the town is after game 2 when they were down 2-0, you could catch them at almost like plus 2,000, I think, or plus 1,500. Now they're sitting there at -550 to win the series. This Denver Nuggets team has regained home court advantage. The totals moved from 206.5 down to 206 with 96% of the bets and 95% of the cash. I'll say this, the Nuggets are 8-0 to the over when the total's less than 209. They like to go out there and score. I feel like I just cashed this over the other day. It was 204.5. Same situation. They got to, I think it was 207 in that game. But Billy, I got nothing in this game yet. I'm hoping you can sway me into a spot, side or total, prop. I don't care. Give me something to work with here, Billy. Let's talk about this 10:30 Eastern, the marquee showdown in the NBA, the Timberwolves and the Denver Nuggets. Take it away.
Yeah, non-basketball breakdown, but this feels like the slot machine that you've been at the casino, and you lost about a couple $100 throughout the first 30, 40 minutes playing on it while you charge your phone. But then it ends up hitting for you, and then you end up playing it again, and it hits for you. Are you going to walk away from the slot machine, or are you going to continue and go back into it after you kind of made back your money and been up money? You know, we lost bad money on the Nuggets game too. We made it back game 3, and then it was like a little. All right, now I'm up money in game 4. I don't want to go back to the well here. I actually lean towards the side of the Timberwolves. Well, now everybody's on the fucking Nuggets, right? And now they're back in Mile High. Now this is the time to play the Timberwolves, in my opinion. If we're going to DGEM player prop markets here, feel like Christian Braun's been getting a little bit more minutes here for the Nuggets. His PRA is at 8.5 tonight. There's a lot of ways you can cash that tonight. That would be my bench player prop tonight would be Christian Braun. But you're telling me, am I betting on a game that I really don't know who's going to win, or do I want to take a bet on who I think is the best team in the WNBA? I'm probably going to just grab my aces bet tonight and let this one get to the wayside. Can't believe I'm saying that, but I like for the WNBA smash spot over a plus money potential spot here with the Timberwolves. Because
I'll tell you what, that's honest reaction. I was the same way when I was looking at the second game for the NHL, the second game for this one as well. I'm going to sit on it for a while. I'm going to let it percolate. I'm going to think about it some. I'm going to look back and forth. I'll probably continue to go back and forth until 30 minutes before tip-off, and then I'll jump in there. I'll say this, though. When you got after round 1 and you're after game 3, you got back-to-back losses. You're now away, and you got a total that's less than a 7. They're 12-6 in those spots. They're 3-14 to the under as well. So Those numbers do say it's a Milwaukee comeback spot to get that thing done. But are they going to go again in Denver and take? I mean, the series got to be just about over at that point if they roll into Denver and take this next game. Then they got to go back to Milwaukee. It's over. It's over at that point. I think this is a big game. It's certainly going to be. I mean, clearly it's a big game, but I just got to sit with it. You know, here's the benefit: we need a little 3 more hours to get the job done. Sorry, hang on. All right. Sorry, Billy Briz. I had a text that I couldn't not respond to. It was one of those urgency situations. I'll tell you the other one I like though, Billy. Michael Porter Jr. Michael Porter Jr. over 2.5 threes, minus 105. Haven't officially locked it down yet, but let me recap this guy's fucking season here thus far. He kills it every single game. He swells beyond a minus 200 to a 225 at 2.5, or you got to take him to 3.5. Then he shits the bed for a significant period of time, and everybody else gets the job done. Then when he drops back to 2.5 at minus 105, he goes on that run again until they blast it up to 3.5. He's averaging 15.5 points, or his point line rather is 15.5 points. And predominantly the way he's been doing it, 50% of his points have come from the three-pointer. This is that situation where you buy low for Michael Porter Jr. at 2.5 threes at minus 105. I'm going to lock that one in. I'm going to make that will be an official play. I hate to talk about a full game and only have a prop on it, but Kelsey says MPJ will go off tonight. What do you think? Sorry.
One of my DGen things that I always used to love to do, back in the day when Michael Porter Jr. was our guy, a couple brothers, and you don't know where the guy lies nowadays. But one of the things that I used to always do was take down the 3-pointers by 1 and parlay it with the rebound. So it would be like 2 plus 3s over 4.5 rebounds, because he always gets a couple of rebounds. He gets the shooter guy rebounds, the long rebounds.
Well, you know what? It's funny you say that because we saw that yesterday too, right? Who was it that Dabby Cab was all over his over 2.5 threes, and Razor Sharp was breaking his balls, so he hasn't done it in forever. Now he's 0-9 in the playoffs. He had 2. And I was thinking if you had the over 1.5 or the 2 plus, you'd cash, but because his number was 2.5 and it was juicy on top of it, it didn't get there. So I love that strategy of kind of teasing it down a little bit, trying to find another combination to link it up with and get yourself back into that plus money spot. Because so often, especially with assholes like this, where they float around that 2.5 to 3.5 range, you're fucked more than you're not.
5.5 rebounds is minus 144 on a lot of places, minus 150. So I mean, they think he goes over on the rebound category.
So you can sneak that down there and get yourself that cash. I like that play. So more to come, Billy Briz. Great job tonight. We really ran it up and down the line. NHL games, Major League Baseball games, WNBA games, NBA playoffs in play as well. You did a terrific job tonight, my guy. You came ready to roll with the goods. We got action in the WNBA. That's so exciting. Tell everybody what's going on in the world of getting bills on X. Make sure you follow my guy on X. He releases them free plays on the regular as well, Billy Briz. Tell them where they can find you. What's going on?
Yeah, UFC Vegas 92 Locker Room Podcast right here on Pub Sports Radio. Make sure you guys check it out. Got a couple new graphics coming and mic'd up, cammed up, all that good stuff. Making money this weekend in the Octagon. We're back to the Apex. To the good old shitty Apex. But word is there will be some stuff going on where they won't be in the Apex anymore. But Friday night, you got to make sure you follow me and Mike over on Twitter to see where we will be, because it's Bellator Championship Series on Friday night. Going off with the other things. And we got Hefe back from his world trips. It's going to be a good weekend here. And the horses go off on Saturday. Make sure you guys hit that like, subscribe button. Should be a good weekend this weekend. So make sure you guys follow everyone on social media, see where the shows are at and stuff. And it's time to cash some tickets, man. Time to lock in. You got to get your money now because Memorial Day weekend's in a couple of weeks.
That's right. Got to be able to pay for all them burgers and dogs and all that grilling that's going to be happening out there. And Shout out to everybody that tailed that live spot with the Washington Nationals. It won't be an official play, but you already heard where to catch that thing live when they were tied 3-3. It's officially over, 6-3 finish. I hope you guys just got the cash. Records aside, it's all about trying to get them winners, and we were able to sneak one in live on the show, and I hope that's just a good way to bless our action for the night there. Shout out to the gang. You guys know the deal. Hit that thumbs up button. I'll tell you what, we get ourselves to 100 thumbs up here tonight. We'll do a little contest tomorrow, and appreciate you guys taking the time to listen to the show. We'll figure out a way to make it a little bit more. We'll give some cash out. We'll figure it out. We'll get it done there, but appreciate all you guys rocking with us. Kelsey, Juggler 23, Panger, Life, Nasty, Nate, a.k.a. The Mechanic, Justin McKelvey, Josh Lauer, the Futon Bets, Real Beard Chick, Juggler 23. I said already, you guys are great, man. Appreciate you hanging out with us. Without you guys, we have nothing. We love to see you guys become members. Getting in the green helps us a ton. We're listener supported, baby. We need your help to grow. We need that by way of hitting that thumbs up, letting them know where they can find you, and spending your time out there catching them winners. Good luck with everybody's action tonight. Stay bobbing, baby. Let's get that money.